Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the THICCDAD Podcast. If you're watching this, you will see that I am wearing a Grinch onesie. Is it incredibly poorly made? Yes. Does it have the breathability of a shipping container on a cargo ship in the middle of the ocean somewhere? Also, yes. If you're listening to this, let me describe to you what I'm wearing. It is, quote, a Grinch onesie. It is not remotely the color of the Grinch or any of his close relatives. I'm already sweating in it. We are 19 seconds in, and will this impede my ability to do a good podcast? Potentially, but thank you for being here anyways. We are going to figure this out as we move along together. Thank you for tuning in. Why am I wearing a Grinch onesie? Is it because I have a toddler? Maybe. But this is potentially the last episode before Christmas, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy whatever you celebrate. I hope you're having a great time. It is December. I apologize for this podcast being late. Podcast is almost a week late, which is not like me at all. I try to keep them bi-weekly, but I'll still end up with 2 a month in December, hopefully. But why is it delayed? Because God bless my wife. She has decided this December that we are going to do all of the cheesy Christmassy holiday things with our kids. Has it been amazing? Yes. Is it stressing me out beyond belief, both financially and time managementally? Also, yes. But she's doing a fantastic job at coordinating all this. I don't know how moms do it. December is just like, we have something planned literally. Oh, wait, let me check my schedule. Every 10 seconds for the entire month of December. We did Christmas photos with Santa at the mall, which is a real money grab, this morning, and it was our 77th time rescheduling it, and we finally got it done, and my kids were amazing. My daughter slept for 5 minutes between the car and getting to Santa's lap, and she woke up, and she was still somehow in a good mood, all cute in her little dress. It was beautiful. But the reason, it's funny that I bring this up, because my wife and I also just recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary together, of our date anniversary, because we're not technically married. Whoops! Call the FBI. So we celebrate our first date, which was in early December of 2014, which is insane to think about. And what's funny is that I had, on good authority from back then, from a mutual friend of my wife and mine, that my wife had a crush on me during November-ish of 2014. I had a crush on her as well, so I finally worked up the courage to ask her out, and she said that she was busy whatever night I had asked. And I said, oh, okay, what about this night? She goes, I'm also busy. And I go, okay. And then she looks at me and goes, I'm pretty much busy the rest of December. And I was like, oh, okay. So in my head, I'm like, this obviously isn't happening. What a mistake this was. And I think I just walked away. I said, oh, okay. And I just walked away. 10 years later, 2 kids later, a mortgage later, we've lived in 3 different towns together. We're actually too busy in December to go on a date with each other. And she was pretending back then. So it's kind of a nice, like, full circle, decade later moment that we are living right now. It's also winter here. And God, whoever designed this Grinch onesie was probably the first piece of clothing they ever designed. I'm sickly sweating right now. We're going to make it through this together though. It's winter weather, which is nice. It's very up and down. I live near just outside of Toronto, so imagine if you're anywhere in Canada or Midwest, Northeast, you kind of deal with harsh winters. First of all, it might be my least favorite season in terms of dealing with a toddler, and that is putting on a winter jacket season. My son, since he could walk, and we had to put a jacket on him to go outside, and then you have to take it off to go in the car seat because that's not safe. So you're just like putting a jacket on to walk them for 9 seconds from your house to your car or the grocery store to your car, which is so infuriating because they make it seem like my son acts like his winter jacket is some sort of elaborate device from one of the Saw movies, like as if it has razor blades or pins or something inside it. That's how he acts when I'm putting on his winter jacket. Like I'm literally putting on a cloak of razor blades on him, which is not true. They're nice, comfortable winter jackets. There's nothing wrong with them. But also, that's the winter season. I realize why I like fall, because there's a very small window of time between putting on sunscreen season and putting on winter jacket season where you can actually get out of the house with little to no struggles. Because putting on sunscreen season is also one of my least favorite. My son acts like we're rubbing rat poison all over his skin. And then there's a couple of weeks in like late September, early October where you don't have to kind of put on either. It's not winter jacket season, it's not sunscreen season. And it's beautiful and it's blissful. And you actually get out of the house with no worries, and everything's fine. And you see like unicorns floating in the sky, and there's birds chirping in your ears, even if there isn't birds. And then you go to like an apple orchard and they have a complete meltdown. But getting out of the house is the easy part. But it's winter weather, and also makes me realize that people can't drive in the winter because, and I don't know why, we get winter for 6 months out of the year. That's roughly half of a calendar year that we get winter here, and people just completely forget how to drive. People are driving like 30 under on the highway when there's like maybe 3 snowflakes on their windshield. I think you should have to take a course every November to determine if you get to keep your license and drive your car throughout the winter. You get to go in like, a parking lot that has a little bit of snow on it, like November 1st. Even if there isn't snow, they put some artificial snow down. They borrow a machine from a nearby ski hill, put some snow down, and you have to pass a winter driving test in order to keep your license until May 1st. And if you are driving in an empty parking lot in your car and you somehow put your car through the front window of an office building, you don't get to drive for 6 months. I think that's I'm going to go to a government office and picket, and that's going to be my my platform is winter driving test. My daughter has her first tooth. My daughter got her first tooth and started crawling. I think I've kind of talked about this. Basically in the same week, and now she says mama, which is awesome. And my wife loves it because in the middle of the night she'll say mama, and I'm like, well, I mean, you have to, but also oftentimes my daughter needs to be breastfed back to sleep in the middle of the night if she gets up. If her pacifier just falls out or she needs a little bit of comforting, I'll hop in there. I'll do that. But oftentimes she needs a useful titty in her mouth to get back to sleep, and I can't provide that service, unfortunately. So my daughter's getting very fast at crawling. She doesn't crawl up on her knees and elbows yet. She army crawls where she'll just like drag the lower half of her body. It's like one of those dogs that has like no hind legs on one of those wheel things. She just drags her body, and I call her Scooch because it looks like she's scooching, and she's getting real quick. I think she could legitimately pass like the Marine Corps boot camp. I think she could pass with flying colors. She already has the psychological torture part down. She's got the army crawl down. I've accidentally dunked her head underwater in the tub a couple of times. So she's basically a Marine now. She loves waking up early. She'll wake up in the middle of the night to torture people around her, enemy combatants, which are my wife and I. So I think my daughter could legitimately pass Marine boot camp. I'm going to look into that. She could probably hold a rifle. I mean, she can barely hold a spoon, but I think a rifle, we could get her to probably do it. We'll work on that. A lot of skills we can develop. She was eating something with a spoon yesterday and somehow put an entire spoonful of puree on the back of her head, which I never saw with my son. So my daughter's way ahead of the game. She's way ahead of the curve. I'm prepared a little bit for this podcast. Yes, I'm drinking my third coffee of the day. Will I have a diarrhea throughout this episode? There's a chance. Will I let you know about it? Probably not. Speaking of diarrhea, that's kind of the color of what this Grinch onesie is. If you can see it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're listening to this podcast, if you gave your baby espresso and cigarettes for a week and then they had diarrhea, that's exactly what color of onesie I'm wearing right now. So thank you to Walmart for that. I don't know if anyone else's Spotify Wrapped came out recently. Mine did. It's absolute chaos. It is a complete disaster. There's maybe 2 or 3 songs even on the list that I actually listen to. The rest is all children's songs because apparently you can exclude the children's songs from like your listening profile. I don't know how to do that. I can somehow put a podcast together in my basement, but I can't figure out the Spotify algorithm thing. So it's just like, you listen to 292,000 minutes of the Excavator song by Blippi. And I'm like, haha, great. Maybe that's why I'm completely losing my mind. I think I should maybe go to therapy starting in January. That might be my resolution. Anyways, if you know any good therapists, send them my way. I think everyone who's a parent has an absolutely chaotic Spotify Wrapped. Like your number one artist is like the person who did the original Hakuna Matata song. You're like, who is that? And then you realize like, oh shit, that's actually all of my Spotify Wrapped is just like songs in an African language from a 31-year-old Disney movie. And that's, that's fine, but it's complete chaos when you're trying to like, I would never post my Spotify Wrapped. It's so embarrassing when you have kids. I think I need to get my son his own profile. Anyways, I'm going to be honest with you. I've gained a little bit of weight recently. I'm the heaviest I've ever been. I've never weighed more than what I currently weigh. And I was wondering like, why did this happen? I thought about it for literally 3 seconds. And I was like, maybe it's the eating habits of a father of two. And let me describe my eating habits as a father of two. And I think most parents of any children, multiples, can attest to this. So, first breakfast is a fake meal. It's kind of like a ruse. It's like a government conspiracy because the first breakfast is like tricking your toddler into eating what's on your plate. So none of it's actually for you. Second breakfast is like a chocolate chip muffin in the car on the way to work. Lunch, I actually get to enjoy because I work full time and lunch is a beautiful thing. I'd sit outside on a picnic table in the rain listening to Kelly Clarkson and eating a salad. And that would be the most relaxing meal of my day as a father of two. Then we get back into the espionage level of meals. First dinner, complete scam as well. It's like, I'm going to have some steamed broccoli and a little bit of rice and a little bit of this salmon. And it's just like, my son has mac and cheese or something, but then he sees the broccoli on my plate. And because it's on my plate, he gravitates towards that at an Olympic level. So first dinner is a scam. And then second dinner is my real dinner, which happens at like 9 o'clock when the dishes are done, the laundry has started, and the kids are to bed. And then I go bananas on second dinner. I'll make like steak quesadillas. I'll make, nachos with like buffalo chicken on them. And I'm eating a full, incredibly delicious, often spicy meal at like 9 p.m. Maybe that's why I'm the heaviest I've ever been. Maybe the pulled pork tacos at 9:30 at night during the week are an indication of why I weigh the most that I've ever weighed. It's not a good feeling though. And I'm heavier now than I was during my wife's first pregnancy. We gained literally the same amount of weight, I think, during her first pregnancy because we would do things like, don't take this the wrong way, I'm a little slut for a midnight snack, okay? And now that's controversial a little bit to say, and that's a weird thing to say as a grown man in his basement in a puke-colored Grinch onesie. However, my wife would be like, because we lived in Oakville at the time, she'd be like, I'm really craving like apple pie grilled cheese. And I'd be like, shucks, honey, do you want to order some? And then some sad guy in a Hyundai Elantra would like throw a bag of cheesecake and like pies on our porch at like 12:45 in the morning. We would just eat it in bed and she was pregnant, so it was justifiable. And I was like, well, my wife's pregnant, so I can justify it as well. And it was a beautiful thing. Incredibly sad, to be honest with you, but it was sort of a beautiful thing to just have us eating like, I don't know, what's the place called? Like Dimitri's or something, some great bakery. Yeah, eating like vanilla ice cream with like apple pie cheesecake at 1 o'clock in the morning in bed. Just like, God, I would literally do anything to do that now, to have the peace to be able to do that in my own home. But with 2 kids, it's not going to happen. But so I'm the heaviest I've ever been. So I'm working on that. So I'm going to have to cut out like one of my dinners maybe, and then one of my breakfasts, and maybe tone down on lunch a little bit, because it's so hard to eat healthy when you have multiple kids. It's so difficult because my daughter's eating solids now. So we're trying to, by the way, my wife And her mental state often days is, I believe, ruined by Pinterest and by Instagram, like baby food accounts, because they're like, here's how to make pizzas out of sweet potatoes and things you can find in your garage. And then my wife's like all super excited. She works hard in the kitchen all day for it. And then she presents it to our kids and they act like it's a bag of dog shit. And they won't even touch it. Or they'll look at it and they'll sense how much effort and time she put into it. It's like they can read the recipe that says like prep time, 45 minutes, ingredients, your sanity, and then a bunch of things. It's like they know the longer it takes, the more ingredients a delicious meal that my wife makes for my kids takes, the more they hate it and the less they eat. And then they end up eating like PB&Js or leftover pasta or whatever the fuck is on my plate, right? That's just what happens. So I would just like to slam Pinterest and mom Instagram recipes sometimes because my wife puts so much effort into it and she's so proud of them. And I end up eating a lot of it too. I'll eat, like, there's like banana cinnamon pancakes that I end up eating. What did I eat the other day? I ate my wife made a spinach and cheese frittata, which I call a Nelly frittata. I ate like, I don't even know, like 6 pounds of that because my kids weren't eating it. So I actually benefit. Again, I'm figuring out things. I'm my own therapist right now. I should be laying on a couch and sitting in the corner making $200 an hour. I'm eating all the stuff my kids don't eat. Again, why I'm the heaviest I've ever been. 2 dinners, 2 breakfasts, espionage meals, eating everything my kids don't eat. That's why I'm the heaviest. So my New Year's resolution is going to be to stop doing espionage meals for my children. What else do we have going on? My wife is on maternity leave still because we live in Canada, which is a country that has some sort of respect for new moms. In Canada, you can either pick, depending on your workplace or your financial situation. Some people have to go back to work earlier, but we were fortunate enough to be in a situation where my wife can take a year off. You can get 12 or 18 months off in Canada when you have a new baby, which is wild because I hear stories of people in the U.S. who like new moms are like their feet are up in the stirrups, and as the baby's coming out, the doctor will look at the mom and be like, hey, dad, would you like to cut the umbilical cord? And as he's about to do it, the mom's boss walks in with like a pair of scissors, cuts the umbilical cord and goes, oh, by the way, your maternity leave is over. We have a Zoom call in 10 minutes. That's what maternity leave is like in the States, basically. Now, am I exaggerating slightly for comedic effect? Yes, but also that's not that far from the truth. You see videos, I saw videos online of new moms in the U.S. bringing their babies to daycare at like 6 weeks. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Society hates new moms, it feels like some days. Like, yes, in Canada, there is a 12 or 18 month time where you can actually take that off for maternity leave. There's also paternity leave where your husband or partner or the father of the baby can split some of that time as well. But still, like the resources for new moms, the mental health resources, the resources that would help with postpartum feels non-existent in a lot of places. Because a new mom will be like, oh, hi, I'm a new mom. And I just was wondering if there was any sort of support I can get as a new mom for maybe like my mental health. And then society's like, how about, just brainstorming here, how about a parking spot near the front of Walmart? And the new mom's like, oh, that's great. Actually, but I was thinking more like resources for like mental health or like how to deal with the fact that your body's gone through like an incredibly traumatic experience and your hormones are all over the place and you might not physically or mentally feel the same at all until 2 years after birth. And then society's like, how about 2 parking spots near the front of Walmart? Moms are like, oh, okay, I guess that's all I'm going to get. We need to treat moms better. How about that? If a guy in a Grinch onesie in his basement is saying that new moms need to be treated better, I mean, it's kind of very manifesto-like, but I do think I am making a good point. Anyways, my point was about my wife still being on maternity leave. She doesn't have workplace gossip, okay? As a woman who watches the Real Housewives of Who Gives a Shit, all those shows, where it's just like angry women who are addicted to Percocet, like throwing Chardonnay into each other's faces. I think that's pretty much every episode, but she feeds off gossip, okay? She likes that type of show. She likes gossip, and workplace gossip is fuel for her. Workplace gossip is creatine to my wife's daily routine, and now she doesn't really have it because she hasn't been at work in a little over 9 months. So my wife, and I think a lot of new moms who are on maternity leave feel this way, she's now feeding off of that itch she has for gossip is now being fed by like neighborhood gossip and like the town gossip, because she's in like Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups for like the neighborhood, the town that we're in. And then she'll call me and be like, guess what's going in next to the dollar store? There's a new shawarma place. And that's like the most exciting part of her day. It's very cute. Or she'll be like, did you hear that over two streets over, someone's Kia Carnival got broken into? Can you believe it? I'm like, God damn, that's bad. Also, the crime anywhere. I don't even know. The crime in Ontario right now, it's just basically just teenagers breaking into every car that has a window, which is all of them. So we need to be careful, but it's so funny to watch my wife like feed off of neighborhood gossip. It's like she's literally one of the Desperate Housewives, and then our entire area is like Wisteria Lane. Like I'm half expecting she's going to talk about a murder in the next 3 weeks. She'll be like, guess who got popped over on King Court. Anyways, we're having fun here. I've seen a lot of videos online. Now, with the holiday season, you're going to be taking more pictures than ever. And at the beginning of this episode, I talked about how we did pictures with Santa, who was not Santa. He looked like a guy who just spent the last 9 months in Turks and Caicos and then came back this morning and put on a hat and a beard. We did family Christmas photos without Santa several weeks ago. There's going to be photos, a lot of photos. I've seen videos of moms online who are extremely upset that their husbands, that they only have selfies with their children or expensive paid for photos. Dads, take pictures of your wives with the kids, okay? It doesn't matter. Again, my wife who I'm sure a lot of moms are like this, may not be feeling their best, may not feel that they look their best, may not feel physically that they're, fitting into their clothes or looking their best. Take all the pictures and let them decide, okay? Take the candid moments of them baking cookies. Take the candid moments of them riding the holiday train around the mall, which is what we did today. Take the candid moments. Just take as many. You have an iPhone, I don't know, 12 if things are not going well for you financially, up to a 14, 15, 16. Those cameras have more technology than like the camera that James Cameron filmed the Titanic with, okay? You pop it into portrait mode and you're within 3 feet of your wife and your child, it'll get an epic photo. So just snap as many photos. Dad, snap as many photos as you can of your wives during the holiday season. Candid shots, ones that maybe aren't set up properly. Try to get some decent lighting and send her all of them and let her decide. Because even if they're not ones that she wants to post, even if she feels like she's not looking her best, she's going to cherish those candid moments with the babies because she's always taking pictures of you and your dumbass and your receding hairline. I feel like I'm talking about myself here. So take pictures of your wives. You have a phone. You take pictures of other dumb shit. I take pictures of like stupid license plates that people see from like, I'd be 400 yards away on the highway and I get a good up close picture. I think I can take a few good pictures of my wife and the baby. So guys, please do that over this holiday season. If this is the last episode before Christmas, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy whatever you celebrate. I hope you have a fantastic, relaxing time off. I hope we have a white Christmas. We had no snow where I lived last year and it was depressing. And then we actually got no snow last year, pretty much at all. I shoveled my driveway once. I bought a new snow shovel, which is a very exciting thing for a dad. So I'm hoping we get some snow this year. I'm hoping we have a white Christmas. I'm hoping I get out of this goddamn Grinch onesie soon because it is itchy. I'm sweating. It's incredibly uncomfortable. But if you are having any issues with postpartum stress, postpartum anxiety, or anything in between, as always, I hope you're getting the support and love you need, especially around this time of year. It gets dark at like 4:17 p.m. It's colder than a witch's tit, and it can be a little bit depressing, and we're going into the most depressing month of the year, January. So I hope you're getting the love and support you need. Guys, take pictures of your wives. Moms, drink water, and have a happy holidays. Love you guys.